La 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 la. This is 7-Eleven, and we should officially be live on YouTube. Live on YouTube. Folks, if this is a little awkward, this is the first time we're doing this like this. So naturally,
Did you like mess with the delay settings?
it should be fine.
Okay. Because I
Live
still don't
on.
see anything yet.
Yeah, I see it. So I'm
Wait.
on the YouTube. Yeah, this is the magic of YouTube. So just refresh.
Oh, I refreshed. Now it's gone.
All right. So this is like this isn't even the BT show, folks. Like we are literally just streaming until Keith gets back, and then we're gonna do the BT show. Then we're gonna do. Does it sound good?
Sounds great.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. So
I'd say the delay is about 20 seconds.
all right. Cool. Cool. So for the show, I got the predictions. Barnables, what's going on, bro? One thing, write a generic message, Ryan. Like throughout the show, just like for the chat, we should generally speaking, post like, hey, like during the podcast, we're not gonna like acknowledge the chat. Just because like I don't want to have to put anything on screen, it just seems like that'd be the best way. It's like generally speaking. I'm just thinking
Okay.
like assume tonight is the public show, right? I'm just
Okay.
going at it like that. Like, what would we do in the actual show?
We would
Jeez.
like look to chat for if there was like certain specific aspects of like we couldn't think of something or someone in the chat brings up a topic or I don't know, like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
like this
yeah,
person in chat makes a great point. We want to expand on that, whatever.
yeah. Like something that extends our conversation, basically. Like not off
Yeah.
topic, but like, hey, we're doing this. So this is the BT pre-show, folks. So we're going all meta in here at this point. Because Keith forgot his
Yes.
dinner in the car, so we're these are the serious problems in life. Aside from
But
that, what up?
yeah. No, it's exciting. Get some sweet stuff going on. This is a test to make sure that we'll be ready for the official launch at
201,
201
201 live.
201 live.
I keep forgetting that we haven't officially announced that we're going live. So it's like sometimes I'm under the impression that people just know we're going to be doing a live podcast. It's like no, no, no.
Yeah, we got to kind of dance. We'll talk about Patreon this week, like how this changes. We got to kind of dance around the raw and uncut thing,
Yeah,
and just say 200. We're gonna announce stuff.
because even right
You
now,
guys
like
already know everything,
exactly.
so
So like right now, if you go to the Patreon, it's like it talks about a live thing, and anybody that takes a look at it and knows our content will basically figure out we're going to be doing a live podcast because we don't do anything else live. So it's like, what do you mean? Like you guys produce live content? You literally produce no live content. So what's going on there, right?
yeah. Aside from the one-off streams now and again.
Yeah, yeah. So I actually got a couple of graphics that I know you haven't seen. Remember that one that I did for like questions?
Yep.
Yeah. So basically, I did that. I can actually just show you that right now. Everybody else can see. Like, so say right now at the beginning of the show, always plug Audible. Bam. Just go to that for questions. Bam. BT update. Bam. We just have like a nice visual cue to change things up a little bit.
Damn. That's slick. So that's gonna be for like the real deal
Yeah.
version.
So the good thing is like that's all hotkeyed. So like I'm not touching my mouse for anything. Like that's just the
You're gonna
magic of
remember all
OBS.
those in the
No,
right order?
no, because what I do is that in the scenes I don't write Juan. I write
You
Juan. I put the number before
that's smart. That's
smart.
smart. I like it.
I use this thing every now and then,
You're
man.
like that guy.
Oh, that meme. That's for the real deal Titus O'Neil. Okay, real talk. Where the hell's Keith? He
I don't
said
know.
3 minutes. He
He's
said
in
three
heaven
minutes.
right now. Look how
Yeah.
white his cam is. Um,
Let's just switch to his cam. Look at that.
yeah.
Look at that.
So maybe we should have one for like predictions and stuff. Like we put, you have the predictions thing. No, obviously not for this week. Oh, well, you get that. Oh, nice. Oh,
Who
so
are
are you
you
gonna
talking
try with
to?
the intro for this too, or is that a surprise for later?
No, okay,
It's going.
seriously? Holy crap. Keith is
Whoa.
officially dead
Whoa!
or something.
Whoa!
Oh my god!
He's back
It's
from
a
the
ghost!
heavens.
It's a
He's back
ghost!
from the heavens.
Oh
Holy
my
crap.
god! EC dub! EC dub!
Whoa.
EC dub!
I've
EC dub!
ascended.
You've
I've
ascended
ascended to the heavens.
Keith, we
Let me
almost
tell
lost
you.
you!
It's great up here. Are you ready? I'm gonna come crashing down. Boom.
Whoa.
Here I am.
Whoa! Wow. Wow. That was magical. Keith
What?
is Jesus. Keithsis.
Keeses is
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
By the way, super important. You know, obviously, if you're watching live, like Barnabas and Nicole are, you know, feel free to like on the Discord to plug. You know, feel free to link that. Let all the patrons know. Obviously, we know some are UK time.
I'm
What?
fucking.
Oh, yeah?
I'm pooped.
We kept stalling because you said 3 minutes. I'm like, so what? We can't pre-show it yet because this isn't the pre-show.
The elevator was taking too long, so I'm in like a rage. Just said fuck it, and then went
Yeah.
to the went down the stairs.
All right. So
So are we
Uh,
gonna do the start audio and then do pre-show, or just do pre-show then start audio?
We should do audio and start pre-show.
Yeah,
Maybe
just
those-
Actually, it doesn't matter to have audio for pre-show, right?
yeah, but
it
it's-
doesn't, but it's easier to just
Okay.
get it out.
get
of
it
the
out
way.
of the way.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's
All right.
start audio.
3, 2, 1, audio. 3, 2, 1, Ryan. 3, 2, 1, 1. And 3, 2, 1, me.
I didn't even do a sound test this week. I'm just assuming those wave lines sound beautiful.
I have to clap like you this week. I don't have feeling in this pinky,
How
so
do
I'm
you-
doing the.
Ryan loves that. Oh man, okay. So can't forget it, right? Like we don't have to do an intro. We're already live. So
Yeah.
this is officially now the BT pre-show. This is the Patreon pre-show. Thank you all of us for supporting us each and every week.
Brought
What
to
we're
you
doing
by
right. Oh
Mountain Dew Kickstart. Great.
man,
Not really, but I do drink
No.
Mountain Dew Kickstart just because it's low calorie energy drink.
what do you guys think of sparkling water?
I have seltzer. I'm a seltzer guy. A lot of different flavors: peach, mango, raspberry, whatever, pomegranate, grapefruit. I mix it up because it's like soda. I try and limit my soda now to like once or twice a week
Good.
and
good.
have seltzer in between.
Yeah, I don't know what seltzer is, but I'm more of a Mio person myself. I've got some here in the lemon lime
Adios
variety.
mio.
Adios mio, or something like that. But yeah, it's better than sparkling water. I don't like the kick that that sparkling water sometimes has. Like it almost to me kind of tastes like a gin and tonic.
It's good though.
weird-
I
It's
like
good.
gin and tonic.
Gin and tonic's good, but me and gin have a rough history together.
What about
so
you and
sometimes
Ginger though?
Oh well, I've something about hindering. I don't know. I've got nothing. I've
I
literally
thought you
have
were gonna
nothing
make
for
a
that.
Tekken joke or something.
I almost went Jin Kazama. Because
yeah.
that would have been relevant, but obviously it's
Yeah.
me. And
Well, I know
Barnabas
we
doesn't
wanted
get
to talk about
sparkling water.
E3 for this BT show, but
Yes.
before we get into that, I just want to bring up some stuff that this is directly from the patrons, basically their contributions. We have things. So
Unboxing. An
so-
unboxing video for Ryan.
Not quite an unboxing, but we got a sweet new microphone for me here.
Which is the one that I use.
Comes with that. What?
Which is the same microphone that I use. So
Yes, it's the same as Juan's, and I think it will have that stand, but I also have the option of this. This is the microphone arm, I assume. It's not in a pretty box, it's just in a boring box.
as long as it works, whatever, right?
Yes, and then this is a clown nose. No, it is the thing that goes over the mic. the most exciting part right here.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That
Oh, yeah.
goes a long way.
Yeah.
This popper
Do you
stopper
know-
goes a long way.
Do you know how much of you is going to be on that a year from now? Like all of your skin and spit and grime. That thing is basically going to be a part of you a year from now. Really think about that. Same with that pop screen that's in front of you right there. There is so much of you on that pop screen.
What kind of view is
What
on that
kind of
pop
me?
screen?
I'm not going to disclose that information. So
Mhm.
let's talk about E3 now. But
E3.
anyway, yeah, thank you,
I'm
patrons.
gonna turn on my air conditioner quick because it's hot as nuts in here. So let's talk about E3.
So speaking about
But yeah.
more of Ryan, nuts.
Speaking of
So yeah, I
E3.
was gonna say that my sound quality would be a lot better. There's a lot less interference and noise. There's probably a lot of extra noise. I definitely had the worst sound quality of everybody. That's gonna get a lot better now, and that's all thanks to you guys. My background is also gonna be a lot prettier very soon because of you guys. So thank you, thank you, thank you. You're making the
Yes.
show better, and you're seeing the results directly now.
Exactly. Everything that we're trying to do. Keith is back, and now let's talk about E3. So E3, 2017. I don't think I had like a lot of hype. I think people just were like kind of looking forward to it, but people were talking about Xbox One S, what's going to be the price point, which is $500. So first up, like, are you guys interested in getting an Xbox One S? Like, I know Ryan, you don't officially have like a modern console. You have it accessible through your roommates, right? So.
Well, my roommate's PS4 died, kind of. Well,
Oh, no.
You'll play it and then it will just crash randomly. So, and he doesn't really feel like paying for it to get fixed. I don't really feel like shelling out the cash for PS4. So I've been mainly sticking to PC games recently. So I'm living and dying by Steam and the Blizzard app and things like that. It'll take something really compelling for me to shell out cash. Like Breath of the Wild, I found my way around that by borrowing a Wii U. So I might be kind of doing that style for games that are must play for me because it's I don't know, nothing's quite reached out for me to really shell out the cash.
Yeah, for me, the Xbox One X is not for me, and I'm perfectly okay with that in the way that Xbox One X, I believe anyway, is for the people that want to play high-end fancy things on their TV but don't want to go deep enough to get themselves a PC. And as somebody that has a relatively high-end PC, when I bought it, when I built it, it was top of the line. Not so much anymore. I can have all of those experiences that the X delivers.
It's still way better than the X.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And because of Microsoft's games are all showing up on the Windows Store these days, you don't really need, unless you don't have like a high-end PC, you don't need an Xbox X. But there is definitely a market for that, and that's why that thing exists. But I won't be buying one at all.
Yeah, so same thing here. I mean, I already got a PS4. I already got a Switch. My PC is about 6 months old in terms of upgrades, so I really don't have any need to like finally get an upgrade like that. But hey, if you like that, you get Xbox One compatibility, which may not seem like much, but it's cool for some people. Now,
Totally.
just talking about specifically, what did you guys like most about E3? Like, we're gonna get to Nintendo, so maybe if Nintendo's something you guys like, but from the announcements, we got a lot of reveals that weren't even part of the conferences, right? Like Nintendo announced some Metroid stuff, which happened on stream, but then off stream they announced another Metroid game for the 3DS, which was huge, which is a remake of the Game Boy Metroid 2, right? So what you guys like about the show so far?
I have not marked out. I marked the fuck out for Mario Cross Rabbids. Oh my god, that
Right?
game looks so fun. If you gave me 100 guesses to guess what that game would be, I would not tell you it is a Mario Rabbids game in the style of XCOM, but I am so freaking excited for that. By far, that is the highlight of the show for me. And I think Nintendo had the strongest lineup in terms of what they were showing and what they were teasing. A lot of their stuff was a teaser. Like they had Kirby teased, Yoshi teased, Metroid teased. They kind of hinted that they're making a Pokemon game, like a real Pokemon game for the
Finally,
Switch, which I called a couple weeks ago. And that was all fine and dandy, but then they showed Super Mario Odyssey, and Super Mario Odyssey seems crazy in a way that I can super get into, where you just possess things with your hat. You can become a man, you can become a bullet bill, you can become a frog.
Become
Seems
anything you want.
insane. You can be anything. The world is your oyster. And from those two games alone, I feel good, at least better about my purchase of a Nintendo Switch.
Same.
With those coming out in the next couple of months.
And it's cool, like they have games that are coming out like in October. October, holy crap. That month is packed. I mean, it's always packed, right? So they showed a lot of stuff that you can get this year.
October 28th, it's Mario Eggs Rabbits. I can't wait. Oh, I'm so excited for that game.
What about you, Rhino?
Yeah, mostly the Nintendo stuff is what I was most excited about. Mario Odyssey looks awesome. It really looks like it's finally the next evolution of Mario since Mario Galaxy, because I feel like we almost skipped an entire generation of like a real true sequel to the Galaxy games. And of course, Breath of the Wild. There was some news on the DLC. They didn't really announce too much that we didn't already know, except that the DLC, the second one, that's the one I'm interested in. I know the trial thing that they're going to have in the hard mode and the one coming out in June. That's going to be cool, but how much are you really going to get out of that? But the DLC 2, I think, is supposed to be a more story-related thing that's coming in the fall or the winter, and it's going to be based around the four champions or whatever. Yeah. So I was a little sad that they didn't flesh that out a little more, because that's what I want to hear about.
But also, they're going to have directs between now and then, and I feel pretty confident that that's going to be its own direct.
Yeah, and if that Pokemon game that they're talking about is what I imagine and envisioned a console true Pokemon game to be,
oh boy,
I will 100% be buying a Switch.
I think I heard that a lot.
I will buy a Switch for that game and also to play Mario and Zelda and everything. So Switch definitely seems like the console that I would buy if I was going to buy any of them. I love that they're remaking Shadow of the Colossus. Like that, if there is any game that needs the treatment of a full graphical remake
for the second time.
Honestly, I was a little underwhelmed with the HD remake. I don't feel like
it was all right. You
didn't feel like it took it into the next generation. It just looked a little bit cleaner. Whereas this is a game that deserves that treatment, and it looks fantastic.
I love watching that trailer live because I streamed that game last year on Press Pause, so like I was still very fresh in my memory. And then I saw the Spiral, and I was like, "What? Like a Shadow of the Colossus sequel?" Because I was like, Keith, I'm like, but they already made an HD remaster, so are they gonna HD remaster it? And yes. Yep. Yes, there are, and apparently it's going to be built from the ground up, or it's going to be they're going to do new type of controller schemes. Because like I know a couple of people complained. Now what I'm wondering is that game had a lot of Colossus that were removed because number one, the PS2 couldn't handle all of them, and number two, did I say number two in the first one? Whatever. Like what matters is that a lot of them, they just didn't have time to like add them in, right? So if they add one or two, I would not be opposed to it, because like it would suck that you're taking this whole game that people love, you already made an HD remaster, now you're going to add another one. Hey, you already contemplated adding a couple of Colossus, so why not do that, right?
Yeah, there's definitely some content that was cut from the original that you could take advantage of the fact that you are completely remaking the game. You might as well add a few surprises in there that weren't there in the first game.
Yeah, so it's either that or just give a low price point. Like, don't charge full price for it. Just make it an HD remake. I think that's totally okay too.
I would be very surprised if they charged full price, because it would be the third time some people would buy it. Then again, I mean, with nowadays, that's perfectly part of a video game culture. So
I know that these are not directly relatable, but they are charging $40 for Street Fighter 2 on the Switch right now. Nothing surprises me after that right now.
That is true.
Damn highway robbery.
So we don't have a lot of time to talk about a lot of other games, although we usually, we would love to. But any thoughts about either Spider-Man, God of War, or Assassin's Creed? Assassin's Creed, it was long-standing rumor that it was going to be Egyptian-based, so that was it. I mean, I think God of War looked pretty
Spider-Man
great.
looks fun.
Did you
Yeah,
guys like the
Spider-Man
Infamous
looks
games?
awesome.
Did you guys like the
What?
Infamous games?
The
Oh
Infamous
yeah,
game?
I love the shit out of Infamous 1 and 2. I actually played both of them. Second Son I never beat, but 1 and 2 I beat both endings, like the good side and the dark side endings. And if this is just that turned into spider webs opposed to lightning bolts, I'm all in on this. And that was a really cool demo to close the Sony press conference on. I'll probably pick up Spider-Man. The other two I'm not so hot on. It was Assassin's Creed we're talking about, and I don't know. The last Assassin's Creed I played was Assassin's Creed 3, and back then I kind of thought, I'm done with this because I'd beaten every one of them before that, and I still kind of feel the same way. Even that new that demo, and they showed they have loot in this one, which seems crazy to me. It nothing really caught me, but it's weird to me because I am really excited for Shadow of War in the same breath. So I don't think it's the style of game that I'm burned out on. It's more the Assassin's Creed formula that I'm burned out on.
Makes
And
sense.
God of War, I'm kind of iffy on. God of War was never my biggest or like most favorite franchise, but this one seems cool. See what they do with Kratos. They looked like, or this year it looked more like a traditional God of War style game where it was a little more slow, a little more deliberate last year, but like Kratos went full Kratos this year. So looks like they're going to make another one of those, and it'll probably sell 1 million copies, but I'll probably check it out one day, but I'm not going to stand in line and wait for God of War.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to. So wait, you said Shadows of War? Is that the Shadows of Mordor sequel?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the Shadow of Mordor sequel.
Yeah,
A lot of war.
yeah. A friend of mine and I we played through the first one, and aside, I don't know. I think there was DLC to it. We didn't play the DLC, but I mean, it had a shit ending, but the game was awesome.
It did have a that was a
It was like a
bad
quick time
ending.
event final boss. Like that's the dumbest shit I've ever seen. But the combat was great because while the game I'm playing right now, like Dark Souls 2, that has some of the best one-on-one combat like I've ever played. Shadows of Mordor is some of the best fighting multiple enemy combat that I've ever
Did you
played.
ever play the Batman games?
It's basically that.
What, like
Yeah.
the Arkham Asylum and stuff?
Yeah.
No, I never played them.
Okay, because if you like that combat, you need to play those Batman games because that's where it's based from, and it's exactly as good, if not a little better.
Excellent. Yeah, I totally forgot to ever go back to those games. So that'll be something I'll have to do.
Asylum is an incredible
Do they have
game.
them on PC?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a Arkham collection. I would recommend playing Asylum and City, and you could probably skip the rest of them. Night is
Okay.
all right, but
And
Origins
people don't talk too well about.
Origins was fun. I beat it in 2 days. I enjoyed it. I would never play it again.
Yeah, so everybody, that's just been a small insight about what we've thought about E3 so far.
And if you haven't watched the Castle Wolfenstein trailer, holy shit, it looks so good.
Yeah, watch that. Watch the Mario and Rabbids one. That one's awesome. So that's been the pre-show, the BT show. Shout out to Barnables and Overcooked Bacon and Nicole in chat. So now we're going to be doing the podcast. Really important once again for both of you, for everybody watching or even watching the video archive. We're going to do this as if it were just the live podcast. So at no point can we pause. Like if something goes wrong, we need to be aware like that's part of it. Like if I mess up in the intro, I cannot redo the intro. Like
The train keeps rolling.
exactly. So what's important is that let's just make sure. I mean, you guys can see it, right? I forget. You guys, like Ryan and Keith, you see my screen. So you know exactly when we're going to like switch all the stuff. So
Yep.
get the gen out. $1.99, folks. We're just 1 week away. It's here.
Ryan, there's on the Gend, there's a link near the bottom. Have that open for the question section.
I'm afraid.
Oh, boy.
It's the fry thing.
Oh, okay. Good call. Good call.
That's going to be quite the debate. That. Yeah, so
Just so we have an image of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Does everyone have
so
that?
yeah,
No.
Yep.
Or-
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Okay, so I need silence to do the intro because otherwise you will sound in the music song thingy.
Yeah.
So you
So
guys are
give me
getting a sneak preview. This may not be the final thing.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to episode 199 of the Byte That weekly wrestling podcast, available every single Wednesday night. This is the location where we talk about all involved the world of the WWE. We're going to be talking about those ladders. There's going to be 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches, and the result of both of those will probably be a little bit better than whatever Damien Sandow ended up getting. So thank you for supporting us directly. You can check us out on YouTube, Stitcher, iTunes, Apple Podcast, and if you like the show, you can actually go one step further and drop a review and let us know, because that will guarantee you an entry to possibly win a $25 Amazon gift card. And we do this because we're on the road to episode 200. That is happening next week, folks. So if you also want to support us, just go to patreon.com/bytethat. We overhaul the perks, the information. We'll be talking about that at the bottom of the show. My name is Juan Velos. I am from San Juan, Puerto Rico. And joining me as always, we got Keith Poshik from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, and Ryan McNulty for Boston, Massachusetts. We will be talking about ladder guys, but above everything, you doing good?
Yeah,
Doing great.
it just hit me. This is 199.
Yeah,
That means 200's next week.
it is next week, man.
Huh.
I'm
the
afraid.
big one.
That's insane. We've almost done 200 of these.
We have sat down for at least 200 times to talk about Raw. And
just
a lot of
put
those,
that into
yeah.
perspective
I
for
don't
a
know how to
second.
feel about that.
Like, we have spent at least, like, let's say the average episode is about an hour 10, hour 20. So we have easily spent over 250 hours talking into a microphone about our thoughts on the WWE. That's a lot to take in.
The scary question. This is the scary question. How much of that has been, why did this happen? Could this have been done better? I get the feeling like at least 80%.
175 of them.
Yeah, quite a few of it. I remember when the show first started, we were like, oh man, this show's been so good, there's almost nothing to complain about. That
Those were
didn't
the
last very
days.
long. But at least we got to start as a more positive show. But one thing that is very positive is those who support us on Patreon. So we want to give a quick shout out to Peter D., Barney Johnson, Liam Vincent, and Tony Myers. Thank you guys so much for supporting us.
Yeah, folks. And you can also...
Love how smooth you are with that. I'm sorry. It's so good. It makes me happy every single week.
And folks, remember that you can get yourself a 30-day free trial of Audible and an audiobook. All you got to do is go to audibletrial.com/bythat so you can get yourself a wrestling audiobook. I'm actually still contemplating what to get. I mentioned the Hardcore Holly one like about 2 weeks ago. So if you guys think I should listen to that, I shall. And then I'll give my thoughts about it on the show. So before we talk about the Raw and SmackDown live polls, this has been confirmed. John Cena's coming back July 4th, celebrating America. Now, what was a little bit different was that it wasn't SmackDown superstar John Cena. It was free agent John Cena. Now I'm just going to throw out there, Roman Reigns is going to be making some announcements pretty soon about
Sounds
SummerSlam.
like somebody's needed on Raw.
How do you guys feel about this? It just seems odd that they did the superstar shakeup. We've had the draft. So there's all these opportunities as a way to legitimize, right? Like what a draft is. But then out of nowhere, no references. John Cena's a free agent. How did this come to be?
It's pathetic. It's
Really?
straight up. I find this straight up pathetic because essentially,
Strong word.
yeah, it's pathetic to me because this is their reaction to low ratings, right? They're going to the well. They're going to that John Cena well that they love so much because they can't find success with the stars they have because for whatever reason, they don't know how to make interesting stories, and John Cena is the only one who can move the needle apparently, and it's sad. It's they have one of the most talented rosters ever. Raw is jam packed with talent, and ratings are dipping, so they're going to the well to get John Cena. And it's sad. It's sad that you have that many people on your roster and you can't get people to watch the show.
Yeah, I mean, you have a very good point there. I won't deny you of that. But after my initial kind of chuckle to myself, like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess John Cena's needed on Raw, I was actually really into the idea of him moving over because where John Cena would fit on SmackDown, there wasn't really that much shakeup. Like, if he were to come back, he would probably feud with somebody like Kevin Owens, or being the whole face of America, or maybe Randy Orton, or maybe AJ Styles again. The only really new possibility would be somebody like Nakamura. But on Raw, you have all of these different possibilities that open up. Like, yeah, he might end up feuding with like Seth Rollins again or somebody like that, but he fits well into this whole Roman Reigns need to go through the entire roster tour 2017, where he could end up doing something with Roman and helping build Roman up for a time. It's I like
done a
it.
cross brand thing. I mean, I think with the
But
whole
why?
idea.
What does that solve? If it like just put him on Raw.
Well, the thing is, he's a free agent, and the idea is that this is going to be sort of like Undertaker rules, where he can actually go between the two shows as he pleases, because just the John Cena factor, he can do whatever he wants now. I
Mhm.
think that's why they're not saying, oh, he's being traded to Raw or whatever. They're saying free agent as in, because he's starting out on SmackDown. And
Yeah.
I think the idea is he can just float between the two shows however he pleases.
I think he
Uh,
has to start on SmackDown just because of Kevin Owens has forced him to start on
Yeah.
SmackDown with him coming back on the 4th of July. But I think after that he goes directly to Raw. Plus, it's kind of nice in the way that there is a there is a much larger chance for John Cena to win a title on SmackDown than there is on Raw. Because when you put John Cena in on Raw, it's kind of hard to see him winning the Universal title, maybe the Intercontinental Championship if they want to go that route, but I highly doubt it. So it gives John Cena it gives John Cena a place that doesn't have to just necessarily be in the title picture, and I think that is much easier obtained on Raw.
Or ultimately, when we're talking about free agents, it could be like Heath Slater free agent, where somebody just forgot to sign the contract and extend John Cena on SmackDown Live. And ultimately,
I mean, hey,
it's
this
just one
company
big misunderstanding.
they let The Rock's contract just run out. So would anything surprise you at this point?
True.
That is very, very true. But ultimately, I guess we'll find out, and then we'll talk about Roman Reigns and speculate, because he's already planning for SummerSlam. He waits for nobody. Roman Reigns is a one-man machine that controls his future. So with that, we go to Raw and SmackDown polls. Remember that every single week, you can go to social media. You can let us know. Give us your feedback about how you really feel about these shows. Are they improving? Regardless of the ratings, are you having fun watching them? With Raw, the overall consensus seems to be that it was just okay at 41% with 2 out of 4. When we go to SmackDown Live, 65% gave it 3 out of 4. Now, this is where it gets interesting. That's 3 out of 4. The second one is 18% at 1 out of 4. So for the first time ever, we have very contrasting opinions about SmackDown Live. Personally, I thought that both shows were okay this week. I don't think that okay should ever be acceptable. I think SmackDown got the message across. Like, I'm already looking forward to Money in the Bank, as opposed to like a Raw pay-per-view and the go-home show. I'm begging you, make me care about the show. With SmackDown, I'm in for the ride already. Plus, you got 2 Money in the Bank matches, right? So, did you guys think that these shows brought anything to the table? We're going to get to Joe and Lesnar. So, with the exception of this big, once-in-a-while thing like Brock Lesnar on Raw, was there anything eventful that happened this week?
Not really. Like, I think you hit the nail on the head there with both Raw and SmackDown. They were both okay, because it's not like Raw was aggressively bad or SmackDown was just aggressively good. They both just kind of happened, and there wasn't really anything big outside of the Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar feud that happened at the beginning of Raw.
Yeah, that confrontation, that was the big highlight point of the week for sure. SmackDown, I thought for Go Home show it was just okay, and really Go Home shows in general have just been kind of on the weaker side. And I think that's just because it's not the push that they need to usually do, like back in the old pay-per-view days.
Yeah, that's really too. I think that overall, we're gonna get that enjoyment from SmackDown. But let's talk about then. Samoa Joe, Brock Lesnar. That was the big thing that happened this week. Where I really like how I think I mentioned this on the show or in a conversation with you two, which is how's that interaction going to be between Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar? Because I don't see these two guys as like promo machines, right? Samoa Joe can talk, but it feels like these characters should not care about talking. They should care about physicality. And that's exactly what it was. And it gave me a flashback to Samoa Joe versus Kurt Angle. I don't know if you guys remember that, but
Yeah,
when Kurt Angle
totally.
first showed up in TNA, Samoa Joe flashback with the headbutt. So that was super cool. And then the whole roster coming out, trying to split them up, showing the importance of, trying to stop something like this eventful. I know that sometimes we talk about WWE having to sort of save the first punch. I'm a big advocate of that, like try to save that for the pay-per-view. I think that with Brock Lesnar, because he's honestly barely ever there, you got to make it count when he's there. And I think that for the past 2 weeks, we can complain about Raw as the 3-hour show that we usually do. Samoa Joe has been built up excellently by the WWE. He is a legitimate number one contender, right?
Yeah, they
Agreed.
turned things around with Joe real quick. I mean, he kind of floated around there for a bit. His feud with Seth Rollins was kind of but since he's won this match and become number one contender for the Universal title, he's been excellent. They portrayed his character exactly how you would want to see him portrayed. He's all business, not afraid of Brock Lesnar, and he did exactly what he needed to do this week, which is to come out and just start wailing on Lesnar. Just show he's not afraid, be a legitimate badass, and that's what he comes off as.
But while I agree, it still makes me I'm almost hesitant to be all in on this, as all in as I want to be, because you hope so bad that both of these guys are just going to come out and just beat the living crap out of each other at great balls of fire. But from the last couple of Brock Lesnar matches, I'm worried that all of this is going to be for nothing. And then they go like Samoa Joe comes out, has a decent at best match with Brock Lesnar, gets beat, and then all of a sudden, all of this making him look like a monster was for literally nothing a week later. And that's a real fear, I feel like, and I hope that's not the case. But history kind of speaks for itself a little bit.
We can at least say that the build is where we want it to be, that Joe
Yes.
is being taken seriously. So far, so good. It does come down to the match eventually, but at least in the build, he's not being just cast aside as this guy who's going to get crushed. He's seen as an actual threat, one of the best threats possible to Lesnar.
And in such a short amount of time, and this really is WWE's opportunity to clear up their mistakes. Are they willing to go Dean Ambrose, Brock Lesnar too? Are they crazy enough to give us a build-up that we care about, a match scenario that we care about at the Great Balls of Fire, only to then just destroy Joe? Because like Dean Ambrose, he's the wacky character, right? So he can lose and it's fine. If you do that with Samoa Joe, you're done. Like what is the destroyer? What is the right hand of destruction, right? When you're the one that's being destroyed by a guy like Brock Lesnar, you're absolutely nothing. So ultimately, I think that we're going to be treated to something very, very good. And I'm hoping that it's one of these Raws. This is what I would like on the road to Great Balls of Fire. Samoa Joe needs to destroy somebody in a match. Like not beat somebody up in a match, not win a match, but get to that Brock Lesnar level. I think that we've had the Paul Heyman thing, right? So he's not afraid to choke somebody out, especially, with the Advocate. He's not afraid to attack Brock Lesnar, destroy somebody, live up to your nickname. He calls himself the Inevitable, which is a weird nickname. Inevitably, just beat the hell out of somebody, please.
That sentence right there makes me so sad about the fact that Braun Strowman got injured, because if you look at the build so far, Braun Strowman is pretty interchangeable with Samoa Joe, and you would have had that that entire backstory with Braun leading into this.
Yeah, that's very true.
Holy crap. You make a great point.
That's very true.
I'm just realizing it's very similar to why like Dolph Ziggler randomly won in
Survivor
Series that
Series.
year,
Yeah.
because he just took Roman Reigns' spot and they just literally plug and play with the exact storyline. Samoa Joe is Braun Strowman right now.
Yeah.
This
And
was
now-
supposed to be Strowman. So this is why he's being built up as the legitimate badass threat, and rightfully so. He definitely deserves it. But it makes me realize why they went with Joe, because Joe is the next closest thing to Strowman, just that hard-hitting guy who could be a real threat to Lesnar. Wow.
And everybody is now depressed because
Hashtag
basically,
you're welcome.
yeah, what it all
Wow.
comes down to is, they're doing this great job with Samoa Joe and all that. He's just
It's
he's
just
just
because
taking
he's
a
literally
spot.
Braun Strowman right now.
And thousands upon thousands shed tears. Speaking of shedding tears, let's talk about Roman Reigns.
Great segue.
So
it works.
I'm not sure, like, if there's one thing I got to give credit to WWE about Roman Reigns, is that they're all in. In video packages, they make sure he's the last one, that they are referencing. Like, they're not trying to hide the fact that this is the Roman Empire. So
And
what
giving
better?
him his own video packages just sprawled throughout the show.
Because why not? You got 205 and Roman Reigns video packages. So now, we're not even in the middle of June, although we will by then. He's already going to make plans for SummerSlam. So let's do it, guys. What are the plans? Is it John Cena? And if so, what kind of angle do they go through with this? Because I don't think there's a single scenario where
Kurt's already involved in one, so I don't know where they go.
Woo! Because
Man,
I just don't. I'm gonna try to
expect
recover.
that from him.
Yeah, I
not
expect
from
that
you.
from me. Yeah,
I
I'm the
let
one with the
everyone
bad
down, I'm
jokes.
sorry.
Yes, you did. So I don't see any scenario where Roman Reigns is the good guy, or even the neutral guy, or even the guy, because it's John Cena. So what's going to happen here? Tell me, Keith. What are his plans?
All jokes aside, they will, if it is John Cena, they will build it around Roman Reigns being the guy. Because remember, go back a couple years ago where John Cena was cutting promos along the lines, if you want to be the new big guy here, you got to go through me. And they've never, like, Roman Reigns and John Cena have never really crossed paths in that way yet. And if they're on, like I mentioned earlier, the Roman Reigns runs through the entire roster 2017 tour, John Cena is probably one of the best stops on that to make him this big threat to Brock Lesnar. So that, honestly, Roman Reigns not being the good guy, the bad guy, but the guy is 100% what they build that around.
It definitely feels like that is the direction that is going to happen, because why else would you really make John Cena a free agent? And the answer is so that he can feud with somebody on Raw. And if you're trying to make SummerSlam, and the reason he's saying plans for SummerSlam, they want to do something big for SummerSlam. So really all signs point to Reigns and Cena fighting at SummerSlam. The thing, like, before this, let's say if ratings for Raw were doing great, I would have fully expected Jinder Mahal versus John Cena at SummerSlam. Something like that, where Cena would have stayed on SmackDown. But they want to go all out. They want to pass the torch to Roman Reigns. So it seems like, let's make Cena a free agent so he can go to Raw, feud with Roman Reigns. But we don't want to do it at a B-level pay-per-view. We want to do this at SummerSlam. It just seems so odd that Reigns is coming up with these plans. We still have Great Balls of Fire coming up. We have, I believe, Battleground is a Raw pay-per-view. Then
He's
there's
above
SummerSlam.
that. He's above that.
Yeah. He's thinking 3 pay-per-views ahead, man. 3 pay-per-views ahead.
There's also just the straight chance that he goes right for Brock Lesnar as well. I don't think we can completely discredit that, where he just says, "Hey, Brock, you get me at SummerSlam." Because if Brock Lesnar's not going to be around for Battleground, then that SummerSlam is probably the next time we see Brock. So he just says straight up, "I'm next in line for the title." I can say that because I beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania.
And this might just kind of trivialize whatever matches that Reigns has at Great Balls of Fire and at Battleground, because it's like, oh, nothing's gonna really happen to Reigns in between then, because we know he's still got his SummerSlam match. So whatever plans happen in between then really don't matter at all.
You can extend that thought out to till Roman Reigns faces Brock Lesnar.
Unless they book Lesnar and Reigns at SummerSlam. But
exactly.
If Reigns is announcing his plans next week, you got to think about this. I don't think they would quite look past Joe and Lesnar for that, because that's their premier feud going into this next pay-per-view. I feel like since he's announcing it next week, it seems unlikely that it's Lesnar, because they wouldn't book Lesnar ahead like that. I don't think that'd be a smart idea.
But if you word it as I'm facing the champion, not I'm facing Brock Lesnar,
good point.
Then that almost becomes null, because let's face it.
And then they would wonder why people would dislike Reigns as he announced, I'm getting a title shot 2 pay-per-views ahead. I don't care who's champion.
But that shows a bigger problem as a whole. Like, the problem is that when you watch a movie, and especially, games, say you play a game that's like 15 hours long, even if the ending sucks, like take Mass Effect 3, for an example, the ride could be...
I like that ending.
Well, it's debatable, but people like the journey, right? Like the whole thing from point A to point B. Raw as a whole, like this is, you mentioned this as a Roman Reigns problem, Keith. This is a Raw problem. Like SmackDown Live, look at Fashion Police, right? And I'm not even here to talk about how much I love them all and all that, but week to week, you cannot miss SmackDown, because if you like Breezango, they give you something unique, and you're not going to get that at the pay-per-view. You don't need to wait till Money in the Bank. You can enjoy them right there. Like right now, WWE has this mentality with Raw, which is here's the pay-per-view and then stuff in between. Let's get it out of the way. Like SummerSlam, we know there's the Great Balls of Fire, but we got to start building up the other thing. So you're left with just a big hole. How many times have we talked about Finn Balor at this point, where Finn Balor's like, he's sort of coasting. Like in the scenario, Samoa Joe is with Brock Lesnar. Roman Reigns is working on his plans. And then we have John Cena as a free agent. Whereas guys like Finn Balor are dealing with the Seth Rollins thing. Remember Seth Rollins, like, with the WWE24 documentary?
You could just start with remember Seth Rollins.
Yep. That is not Seth Rollins, Seth freaking Rollins. I got to clarify that. But they had momentum with him with WWE24, and then they put him in as a bad guy, only to then put him in as a good guy for no reason. Finn Balor, he comes back. He has a WWE24 documentary. Everybody's like all set. Yeah, man, the demon versus the beast. Let's do it. No. So it's not even like a matter of fantasy booking. It's like the opportunity is right there. The crowd is telling you this is what should happen. The crowd is all into it. But because you have this narrow mindset of what you want to end up doing, you end up with a terrible 3-hour show. Because passable and just okay, not bad, are things we talk about every week about Raw. That should never be a scenario.
I see what you're saying. Whereas sometimes it's bad to have a plan, because you can't be as reactive to the week to week responses of things. But that's kind of just like the great big fight with wrestling. Is it better to go, because people complain when they're too crazy week to week with changing things, and they're like, why can't they have a long-term plan with a slow burn feud? Like, we all like when things build over time. So you're always in that constant battle of, how do we react to what's going on while still having sort of a plan, so there's actually a direction for the show? So that's kind of just a problem that you're always fighting between those two philosophies.
It's almost like you can't please everyone.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest problems as a whole, man. And
yeah, I don't know. I think we just like to see stories develop. You feel like there's progression week to week, and you're
asking for too much.
That's what I'm saying. Like, go back to Breezango. I love the fact that we still don't know who wrecked their office, that it's a week-to-week thing that they keep building on. And even though, it would have been nice to find out before Money in the Bank so they could have a match, but nevertheless, that's the type of storytelling I like, where each week you at least get, it doesn't always have to be a mystery angle, but you have something to take away each week.
Especially Fandango, because Fandango's life. And now, ever since Christian returned in WECW, I think people have always been pondering, what is the second most uneventful return that you can have in WWE? So what better way than in a backstage segment with a lukewarm Mojo Rawley? You have an even just stale-sized Zack Ryder come back from injury. No build-up, no like big thing. And just when people think that, like he climbed that ladder at WrestleMania, he's going to get that individual opportunity. We're back as a tag team, folks. So the Hype Bros are officially reunited as well. The fire is going to be blazing. I have no idea what they're going to be doing long term with this tag team, because if the SmackDown tag division was the way it was like 3 months ago or even 2 months ago, where we were saying it's like stale, it's got to get better, it just seems like the Hype Bros are so not in there. Like they seem so out of place. Like even the Colognes are starting to blend into that tag division in a way that makes sense.
Don't act surprised about that. Come on.
So how do you guys feel about this then? Zach, I think he deserves better. I think that Mojo Rawley is inevitably going to end up main eventing a pay-per-view, but that's not going to happen for a very long time. I think that is another project. That is like Dr. Thugonomics John Cena. We still don't know what final Mojo Rawley is going to be. He's still like Super Saiyan 1.
Yeah, this is not even his final form.
No, hell no.
Oh my!
I don't know. I mean, how much of a pop would Zack Ryder have gotten if he did some sort of run-in? It could have been. I mean, people, just the nostalgia of when people were super hyped for Zack Ryder could have been something. Maybe they just didn't want to take their chances that there would be some sort of lukewarm reception when he showed up,
as opposed to this.
But I don't know. For some reason, I didn't get a chance to watch Talking Smack this week because I think the Hype Bros were on it. But something tells me that Zack Ryder is going to turn heel or something on Mojo.
I was about to say that.
I felt it.
I'm calling it right now. Zack Ryder will turn on Mojo Rawley, and I think that could be a good feud. I think a Zack Ryder versus Mojo Rawley is better in the long run than just, hey, let's do the Hype Bros again. Because it gives Zack Ryder something to do, and it gives Mojo Rawley a opportunity to work up the card. Because I'm with you, Juan, that I think one day Mojo Rawley will be a main eventer. I mean, hell, if Jinder can do it, so can Mojo. Because by laws of WWE, Mojo beat Jinder, right? So he's basically like the world champion right now. I know, but I think, but my point there was that anybody has a shot.
Yeah.
And
If
Mojo
Jinder's champ,
definitely,
anyone can be.
yeah, and Mojo definitely has everything he needs to be a champion one day, but that day is not today. And a feud like Zack Ryder would help him get there. I believe that.
Yeah,
And
the fact
as I
that
lose my
Zack Ryder
voice.
came back in the suit, like the suit look of just like maybe he's a little more serious and there's going to be this disconnect. And I think they'll start out as the Hype Bros again for a little while, but I fully see Zack Ryder, he'll have all the reason, you tried to do all the, like, you forgot about me, trying to pass me by, all that stuff. I'm sure there's plenty of stuff that they could use for a feud like that. And it'll get kind of a nice mid-card feud going on SmackDown, which might be the SmackDown has a new weakness, and I think it's the mid-card. I mean, guys like Luke Harper don't even exist anymore. What happened to Ty Dillinger?
Eric who?
Yeah, so that's kind of a problem right now. So a feud like that going on could definitely help.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to say about Zach is almost copy-paste what I thought about Dolph Ziggler's turn, like just before it happened, is if you go down the generic route of, I no longer care about you, we saw how that turned out for Dolph Ziggler. Like, I think even Nakamura, I didn't watch Talking Smack, but people are saying that he like insinuated that Dolph Ziggler wants to wrestle in Japan, almost like leaving WWE. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I've been reading. But Zack Ryder needs to reinvent himself completely. He's been the same character since WWE CW. Think about that. From woo woo woo, you know it. Like I have a Zack Ryder shirt. I have a Zack Ryder Beat Sprite, and those are old. Those are really, really old. And it seems like every time they wanted to reinvent him, they just up the level of woo woo-ness instead of actually just scrapping that altogether. So go down the Emma route. Like Emma was like this ditzy character. Not just saying that because they were in a relationship previously, but you gotta remove all of that. Like the dumb smiles, the quirkiness, be a serious character. Like, take a risk and do like 2008 Chris Jericho. I dare them. I double dog dare them.
That character should have went off the stage with Zack Ryder in that wheelchair.
Everything bad about Zack Ryder should have gone off that wheelchair, but unfortunately, we're still here, right?
Exactly.
Now, a show that you guys maybe didn't get a chance to watch, I did, and I just wanted to bring it up for a couple of minutes. It's Bring It to the Table. So the latest episode, man, it clicked. I think that, Ryan, you've talked about previous ones, and I've watched them after you mentioned them, and it definitely motivated me to check them out. And just today, I was like, you know what? I'm home from work, so why not check it out? And I'm very happy I did. I think the chemistry is finally blending in between Corey and JBL and Peter. And like they didn't hold back. Like JBL was basically saying like Bailey's gonna fail. Like at one point they asked him directly, like, do you think Bailey's gonna succeed? And his answer was basically no. Like they talk about This Is Your Life. That Jackie Gaeta match, like how JBL was involved in that match, and that was a terrible segment, but he managed to remove himself from that, right? Like that tag match didn't make JBL. So those were just exceptional
What match
things.
was that? I don't remember that.
That was JBL and Trish Stratus versus Chris Nowinski and Jackie Gaeta tag team match on Raw, like 2003.
Where Jackie Gaeta was she couldn't figure out how to sell any move correctly, and it was super awkward.
That one. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I did watch this Bring It to the Table. I thought this was probably the best one they've ever done. Corey Graves made some excellent points early, but yeah, going to what you said with JBL talking about Bailey, he made two important points. One being that, hey, one segment will never kill anybody. You can recover from anything. That's why he brought up that example, was even though that was one of the worst segments ever, everyone, was still able to come out of that. I'm sure maybe Jackie Gaeta and Chris Nowinski didn't, find success in the WWE, but that wasn't the thing.
Very different reasons, though.
Yeah, exactly. That was not the thing that took that away from them. And the same thing isn't going to happen with Bailey, but I think he definitely did not have confidence in the direction of her character. And, he had suggested, some things in NXT aren't going to always translate to the main roster. And I think Bailey, she can find success on the roster. You just had to be very, very careful with how you do handle her character. And it just hasn't been handled well.
I agree. I have not seen Bring It to the Table yet, but I agree with the points that you guys are mentioning. I do need to check it out, but not one segment can ruin an entire career. But you still have to be careful going forward, because like a couple of bad months can end up ruining a career for sure. But it's definitely not too late for Bailey. I still believe that. I'm still it's still a comeback story.
Bad weeks in a row.
Yeah, and what you mentioned about not everything from NXT working on the main roster, the opposite can happen. Like, look at Elias Sampson. Like, Elias Sampson in NXT, nothing. Like, people can now wait for him to get off the TV. It was go away. It was like X-Pac levels, right? It wasn't like, boo, this is a bad guy. Just a couple of tweaks on Raw, and people just, he's getting to like the Vicky Guerrero level. He is actually slowly on his way to doing that.
Because Elias Sampson is one of those, he's like a Jinder Mahal type of gimmick where the casual fans, like that's a gimmick that a lot of casual fans will really hate. And Elias Sampson is totally that. Whereas you go to NXT, that's like all the marquee type people. So they like the cool heels. You know what I mean? So that's just not going to work there.
So the big question, I got a big question for you. Would you walk with Elias?
I would.
Where to?
I would walk with Elias.
Like a mall, like to the movie theater, Taco Bell.
Yeah, I mean,
a long walk on the beach.
It all depends where he's going. Like I'm not above a good walk. Like maybe I can catch some Pokemon on the way. You never know. It might be a fun time.
Yeah, 1 year anniversary events coming up, man. There's a lot of good stuff to catch.
Wow, it's already been a year since Pokemon Go.
Almost a year. It was early July.
I picked it up again recently. I'm out there catching the Pokemans again.
I think I gotta pick it up again just so I start moving again.
Yeah, I caught a Cyndaquil.
I've been too lazy, man.
I caught a Cyndaquil yesterday, and I felt real good about that. That's my story.
You know what WWE superstars are going to be looking to catch? That briefcase above the ring. Because now, folks, it's time to talk about Money in the Bank 2017. we're going to be getting to our predictions about all of it, and definitely let us know on social media who you think is going to be winning. If you're watching us or listening to us on YouTube, definitely drop a comment, send us emails about Money in the Bank as well. Are you looking forward to the event? So we're going to be getting to all of the matches and giving some overall feedback, like the Go Home SmackDown, what we expect from these matches, and ultimately we're now on the road to SummerSlam. So first up, let's talk about Naomi versus Lana. Let's start it off with controversy. Sort of talking a little bit about bringing it to the table. They actually brought this up, which is that if it's almost like what we said, where if it's a train wreck, everybody wins. If it's a success, everybody wins. If it's like right in the middle, like there's going to be a lot of controversy surrounding this match. Like, Corey Graves and Bring It to the Table mentioned that she's in the Performance Center. She's training there. I still don't know what to expect from this match. Like, Lana doesn't feel like she's part of the SmackDown Live women's roster. She feels like she's like above it, and not in like a good way. It's like they stamped her on top of it. Like, she's part of that division, but not really.
Yeah, she definitely feels out of place because you're not used to seeing her as a part of the women's division, really. This is the first time she's really kind of cemented herself into that division, because she just kind of had that one-off thing where she was included in the group for WrestleMania like 32, right? Was it 30? Yeah, it was 32.
Did Lana have a one-on-one match?
She's never had a singles match on TV.
Not even in the Summer Rae, Dolph Ziggler feud.
No.
Like, was that all tag matches and stuff?
Yeah, she's never. I don't even think she had a match during that, because I think her debut match was literally WrestleMania 32. So she has the weirdest career ever. Her first match is at WrestleMania. Her second and first singles match is for the women's title at a pay-per-view. So yeah, I honestly think this will be a train wreck, and I'm going to disagree with you, Juan. If it's a train wreck, I don't think anybody wins. As much as I want to believe that this will be awesome, I feel like Lana's kind of being thrown into this just because they had the decision that they wanted to do the women's Money in the Bank, and there was literally nobody to face Naomi. She's probably being rushed into this, and it'll be a bit messy. Maybe it won't be that bad. I don't expect anything great.
Yeah, this is more than anything. This is a make or break moment for Lana's career. And I'm with Ryan, where I hope this isn't a train wreck. I hope they go out there and they kill it, because that can only lead to good things. Like, having another contender on the SmackDown women's roster is not a bad thing, because there's a lot of them there right now. Like, anybody in the Money in the Bank match we're going to talk about in a little bit can totally win that match. And if you add Lana into that fold, there's nothing bad that can come out of that. And for that reason, I hope it's at least good. Lana needs to have a good match. I don't think there's any stakes in it for Naomi, really, because even if it's a bad match, Naomi moves on to the next thing next week. And as far as who wins, I'm going to say it has to be Naomi. I don't think, even though Lana should have a great match, I don't think she has a shot at the title right now, because that's just way too soon.
Yeah,
it's just so
Naomi
weird
as well.
It's just so weird, because think about this. We've had this build up for over a month, right? Like about 2 months of like Lana between Rusev, who magically disappeared because Jinder Mahal got that opportunity. So she's been actively promoted, only to then like not win. It just seems like, where do you go, right? But I'm not saying she should win. I do think that Naomi should win, and I don't think that this can be a train wreck. I'm not saying it's gonna be. It can't possibly be that, right? Like, would WWE actually take the risk of, in the midst of a woman's Money in the Bank ladder match, have like the best match of the night and the worst match of the night both feature women? At the same time, I could have almost answered my question, yeah, because like you're gonna have the good women's wrestling match, right?
And it really doesn't matter unless this is a great match. It doesn't matter how bad this match is, now that I think about it, because at the end of the day, everybody's going to remember the women's Money in the Bank match. This match is going to be an afterthought.
Man, imagine if it steals the show.
Yeah, Keith is great. Keith is here with the deep predictions.
Classic.
They could. Like, that's the thing. Imagine the scenario where we have to debate which was the best women's match in Money in the Bank, objectively speaking, and we're like dead serious about this.
Is it the ladder match or the match with the rear view?
I will go with the rear view, man. I'm all about the glow. I'm all about the glow. So I'm also going to be going with Naomi for the victory. Now, WWE Tag Team Championship match. We have the Usos. Their day one is H because it is here. That being a match against the New Day. So this can be a great one. I think that this is going to be, you know how the Usos had like that chemistry with the Shield, like when they first came up. I think this can be the natural evolution of that. This is going to be an awesome tag team match where both tag teams are going to be able to showcase that. And the New Day, even though we talk about them being the fun tag team, we're going to get the wrestling portion in the best way possible. Who do you guys see coming out the winner?
I'm going to go with the Usos winning the first encounter. I think they're going to sneak a win in because I think this program is going to go longer than one pay-per-view. I mean, Usos are an amazing tag team, and I know them and the New Day, they're going to have an awesome match. This will probably be one of the best matches. But it doesn't seem like, since the New Day just got here, that they're going to just throw the titles right on them immediately, unless they're going to kind of start trading them back and forth. I see like the Usos just sneaking by with a win and things moving on to the next pay-per-view.
I kind of see it from the opposite perspective, where the New Day showed up on SmackDown. They're the biggest thing around. I think they will put the titles on them immediately. It'll probably be something, my guess is that it'll involve something involving the Fashion Police costing the Usos the title. Maybe at Money in the Bank, we find out they're the ones that destroyed the office, and then they come out and try and arrest one of the Usos, and it costs them the match, or something along those lines. But I think that they will put the titles on New Day immediately. And you know how they kind of teased that maybe the New Day will hold the titles until WrestleMania? I could see that being a possibility.
That would be crazy if they actually tried to do something similar to last time to break. I'm not saying they're going to break a streak, but are you just going to double dip in that?
Why not? They are one of the best around.
I want them to eventually have singles careers, man. I mean, they're a great group, but I want that Big E singles push eventually, man.
Do you think it would be time for?
I don't think you do.
Forget about like the marketing stuff, Keith. Do you see in 2017, we're in June, from here to December, do any of the members of the New Day win a singles championship?
Possibly. Now, that's with the asterisks of still a member of the New Day.
Yeah, yeah.
If they could win the U.S. championship, like I could see Kofi Kingston as U.S. champion, but he is still a member of the New Day doing so. The New Day doesn't break up this year.
Yeah, I'm not saying break them up. I just want to see them go for singles titles. We've seen them as a group for so long. I mean, they'll be coming up on 3 years at this point.
But they had a golden opportunity for that recently with Kofi Kingston's injury, and they chose to just keep them off television.
This point, the SmackDown tag division needs them. They need them as kind of the linchpin for the division. And the SmackDown tag division used to be one of the weakest aspects of SmackDown. It's now improved significantly. But they still need them there as that foundation. But maybe down the line, maybe going into WrestleMania, that they'll be able to kind of break off and start doing their own thing. I'm not saying now. I'm just saying down the line, I would like to see that happen.
I think that happens after WrestleMania.
Man, it's going to be quite the road. I'm just hoping that Big E becomes champion in one day. I think the man deserves it. I know that's a topic for another day. It just seems like it would be a shame if somebody with that much charisma just becomes the tag team guy that could have, right? Like Matt Hardy, I don't think will ever become a world champion.
We want to see that singles run, what it would be like for Big E.
This is the next Jeff Hardy.
I do want to see it. Like, I want to see it in the way that, like, so Big E didn't have the best run the first time, and I'd like to be proven wrong and like not have that not be my first thought when I think Big E singles run. But I love the New Day so much. Even when they're bad, they're still not the worst thing. And that makes me want them to stay together forever.
They've been together now like twice as long as the Shield was. So
why is that a bad thing? They're still good.
I'm just saying, like, for wrestling, they are for wrestling in today's day, they are one of the longest running factions ever.
Are you tired of the New Day right now, Ryan?
I'm not tired of the New Day. In fact, since they've just come back, they feel really fresh right now. I'm just saying down the line, let's see the single stuff.
So talking about single stuff, Jinder Mahal, he's going to be defending the WWE Championship against Randy Orton, Mr. Dive himself, which it sucks that we didn't get a chance to talk about that, bring it to the table stuff. Listen to JBL talk about dives. I thought that he was going to take a neutral look into it. Oh boy. Keith, if you want a reason.
Did you really think that JBL would take a neutral stance on that thing? Because
Usually,
I haven't heard a peep, and I know you are very
wrong.
No,
dude, you got to listen to that. My God, does that man go all in on the topic? It is entertaining as hell. Even Corey Graves is kind of like, let's soften this up a little bit. Come on, let's look for different angles. So naturally, high flying stuff. Jinder Mahal, he's retaining, right?
I have to go with the modern day Maharaja. Jinder Mahal will retain. I mean, dude, his entrance is getting more badass by the day.
It really
he comes
is.
out now. He's got like the thing over his face. Then you see like this red line that starts like bringing his like floor Titantron into the picture. Then when he lifts up the title, all the lights come on. Like the dude looks like a legitimate champion. Like I think it's going great so far. Maybe some people don't like Jinder, but I'm loving every second of his title reign. Randy Orton, I don't really know what you gain by having Randy Orton win the title back. I think there's way more to gain by having Jinder Mahal continue his reign as champion, eventually feud with John Cena, and John Cena's got to fight for America at some point. You know that feud's coming. Until then, I think it's just way more interesting to have Jinder with the title, and I feel like they want to keep it on him.
That feud is coming, but there's also a Canadian going around saying he's the face of America, so I don't think that happens with Jinder Mahal. This one for me is hard to predict, and I like it for that because I want Jinder Mahal to win. It's almost like a reverse of their Backlash match, where everything feels like Jinder Mahal should win this match, and that's why Randy Orton is going to win this match. Where it's Orton's hometown. Recently, they have been making people lose in their hometowns, but maybe Randy's a little different this time, and they have Randy win his title back. I want Jinder to win, but I don't feel confident in it, so that's why I'm going to go with Orton. I don't want it to happen, but I think Orton's going to regain his title.
That RKO out of nowhere on SmackDown was excellent, by the way.
It was pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was.
And then his lack of teeth afterwards almost added to it.
I don't know, man. Like, it feels like the modern day Maharaja should continue to become champion, and that's my pick. But there's that little corner of my brain that's just telling me he's just gonna not be the champion anymore. Not a lot of explanation, and they are going to move on. Like, there's this whole thing about, India, is that marketable for WWE or not? Like, stick with this, man. Like, this is not just a big opportunity for Jinder. It's a big opportunity for, like, Mojo Rawley. I know people don't love Mojo Rawley too much, but it's for people around that tier, right? Like, take this chance so then you're willing to show that you can take that chance with other stars. Like, not just Jinder Mahal.
Yeah, if they want him to be a star, they can't just give up on him already. And I don't think he has done a single thing that you would say, okay, take the title off of him. He's not doing well. I think he's done pretty well with everything since he's become champion. I really see no reason to take that away from him.
Yeah, I think he's been a great champion so far. Way better than I would have guessed in a million years. He's been solid every single week. But to your point, Juan, even if Jinder loses at Money in the Bank, you still have that gold standard example going forward, because the conversation from now until the end of time on SmackDown is, if Jinder can do it, anybody can do it. And that's period. Like, you don't need a long title run to still have that point standing there.
So now let's talk about the Money in the Bank ladder matches. The first up, let's talk about the women's one. So we have Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Natalya, Tamina, and Carmella. So the winner, much like the male one, this is just simply that they have the opportunity to cash in either at an arena, during a match, before a match. It's not a hardcore match rules. It's not 24/7, but they have this opportunity. So I want to start things off by saying that it should probably still be Carmella. Like James Ellsworth, if he was not part of the equation, I would totally go with like an Italia. I think that she can be really annoying with it. I don't think there's a chance in hell Tamina can win. Then again, Jinder Mahal is your champion for the main championship, so anything's possible. But it just makes so much sense for Carmella to win this, right? Like I think Becky Lynch will be the feel good moment. Like, yeah, Becky Lynch did it, but then what? There's no story to tell other than eventually you're gonna cash in.
Yeah, Carmella, just all the stars kind of align to her being the one that should win it. You got the Ellsworth factor of like he can be the one that's always carrying the briefcase around, and you can use it as a weapon and all of that. Like heels always just feel better as the Money in the Bank person because it makes more sense when they're more advantageous about when they use it. She's good on the mic. She can talk about when she's going to cash in and all that. It all seems to really make sense that it should be her. And also because she's never won the title. So it's more interesting when you have that factor. It's always good. I mean, Charlotte Flair has won multiple women's championships. Becky Lynch has already been champion. Natalya has been a champion. Tamina just doesn't seem like she's been built enough to be a factor. So Carmella's really in that true Money in the Bank spot of the person who hasn't done it yet. And also is a heel that would make sense to cash in at a particular time.
Yeah, I never really considered Carmella up until this conversation, but that is probably the best case scenario because I was thinking Becky Lynch just because that's kind of even though it's obvious, it's a very out of nowhere pick because Becky's hit a rut. She's almost like her and Bayley kind of have similarities in different stages of where they are in their WWE.
Except they haven't completely assassinated her character.
Yeah.
Becky's character is still okay. It's just not being really showcased enough.
Yeah.
You just can't be too nice. Apparently, if you're nice, bad things happen to you.
It's true. But Carmella's great. I hope James Ellsworth wins the Money in the Bank and just Carmella gets it from proximity. That's the closest I can get to that. So from that, I will choose Carmella as well.
Yeah, just way too many stories to tell here. Like James Ellsworth can be, oh, this is when you cash in. Like he's trying to be her advisor. Like at one point, like he probably is going to cash in for her. So the referee is like, yo, this is like Carmella's briefcase, not yours. So
that would be so good.
The entertainment value is real.
James Ellsworth.
What if?
And nobody's picking Charlotte because we all assume that she'll win the title before a cash-in even happens.
800%.
I hope Charlotte does not win this Money in the Bank because she's going to win it anyway. So it's almost a waste of the briefcase.
And with that, let's talk about the other Money in the Bank ladder match. We have Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, Baron Corbin, Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, and Shinsuke Nakamura. So with this one, this is tricky because
Tough.
It's almost the exact same scenario. Like, hear me out. I'm going to go with Sami Zayn for the exact same reasons I just said for Carmella. Carmella is an annoying character, and so is James Ellsworth. What is Sami Zayn? This annoying character that no one likes to be around. Everybody else, like AJ Styles, you have a briefcase. So what? You're one of the best guys in that company. Like everybody else, it makes sense. It makes sense except Dolph Ziggler. Just don't win anything ever again. So Sami Zayn, just have that with him and have just people beg him like, dude, don't cash in. Just don't even be on the show at this point. Just be the most annoying character possible. And I think that, much like Carmella, tells a great story.
Sami Zayn can almost fit like a Daniel Bryan winning the Money in the Bank briefcase kind of role, where he just gets destroyed up until the moment he cashes in.
So I had for a hot second considered Sami Zayn as my pick, but I'm going to go with sort of the pick that a lot of people feel comfortable with, and that's Baron Corbin. Because once again, fills that role of the guy who's not quite at, he's kind of flirted with the main event scene, but he has not, reached that point yet. And
Third
they
base.
like to throw the money in the bank on a guy who they kind of want to build up to eventually be solidified as a main eventer. And Baron Corbin really fits that mold really well.
Do you think
So,
WWE would do like two villainous Money in the Bank holders on the same show?
yeah, that's the one thing that I'm kind of like, oh, maybe they won't do that. But then again, Carmella may not win it. So maybe I'm
Didn't
kind of
Sandow and Seth Rollins win the same year? Like, it's not exactly out of the
yeah, it's not
ordinary.
completely
Different brands,
out of,
though.
like, yeah, out of the ordinary. But I'm gonna stick with Corbin either way. And also one quick thing, Nakamura was used perfectly this week. This is the
Yep.
best. This is Nakamura's best week ever as far as promos and segments go. Just gave him one perfect one-liner that was hilarious when Sami Zayn's being all annoying with strategy and all that, and AJ Styles can't stand him. Nakamura's just like, I like him. It was perfect. It was hilarious and perfectly done. That's how you use Nakamura.
It was really good. But as far as my pick goes, I agree with your reasoning on Corbin, but for all of that, I kind of have to go with Nakamura on this one, even though it seems like the easy pick. Because you have this guy, you know he's going to be a main eventer one day, but it's just a matter of when. There feels like there's still ground to tread before that. So now you have all these scenarios. When's Nakamura going to cash in, and when's he going to cash in? And you can build that
It immediately
that
makes him
dialogue.
a big deal.
It makes him a big deal, and like it basically signs that check. Like, okay, he is going to be champion one day, and then it leaves people like us just asking the question of when over and over again, and that creates a fun dialogue from that. So I'm hoping Nakamura wins just for that. And you can have a situation where maybe his next feud is with AJ for SummerSlam, right? Well, that means he's not going to cash in immediately. And it adds maybe something interesting to that feud with AJ, where maybe they end up fighting over the Money in the Bank briefcase or something along those lines.
It's not bad. Like if Sammy doesn't win, I just don't see Corbin winning it. Like he already had like the Andre the Giant, trophy. I just don't see. I see him becoming champion. I see him in the same vein where I do Charlotte, where they're inevitably going to become champions on their respective brands, like wherever they end up being. Because like Corbin could be
Corbin's
champion
lost a
2
lot,
years
though.
now.
I think he needs that legitimacy. I think there's a
And the
case,
Money in the Bank does not really get you that historically.
not always.
Corbin is
Barely
definitely
ever.
my number 2. That if it's Nakamura, I want it to be Corbin.
Yeah, so I guess that's it. We have split decisions on the Money in the Bank matches. We feel a little bit weird, right? Like about that WWE Championship match, because like with Raw, we're speculating about John Cena and what's going to be happening with Brock and Samoa Joe. With SmackDown, I'm not sure what SummerSlam is going to look like. Like I don't have a clear picture of that, but I like that at the same time, Like we don't always need to have this clear path. We always complain about that. So it's nice that we get that uncertainty because ultimately at the end of the day, I think SmackDown turns out to be a really fun show for everybody. So why not keep going with that, right?
Yeah.
So folks, every single week we get your questions. You can send them to Byte That Cast on Twitter. Use the hashtag AskBT. Don't look at all the other hashtags that sometimes get spread around with that one. You can go to bytethatcast@gmail.com. Send us an email. Let us know where you're from and how long you've been listening to the show. Remember, next week, episode 200. And if you're listening on YouTube, just drop a comment on that episode. We'll take a look at that. Maybe it makes it onto the show. We try our best to answer a couple of the questions. Now, this week, one of these questions is so big, it almost became a video or a podcast topic itself because we sent this out on social media. So the main event was not the Money in the Bank prediction, folks. It's the one that's going to be coming up in just a bit.
You say that, but it's not as complicated as you make it out to be. But
Yes, it is. It is.
We'll get there. But first, this first question comes in from Brett C., who asks, "Hello, gentlemen. Hello.
In response to Liam V's question from a couple weeks ago, in Australia, only pay TV subscribers can watch Raw and SmackDown. He only watches YouTube clips, reads PW Torch blogs, and of course, listens to us.
Woo.
Oh, cool. There you go. A little bit of insight there. My question this week is regarding the lack of main event heels on Raw. With Joe versus Brock coming up, and Wyatt versus Rollins, and Miz versus Ambrose, what other main event heels do they have for people like Finn Balor and Roman Reigns? Who do you think they will be feuding with next? Thanks, guys. Thank you, Brettsy.
You know what this got me thinking is that we need a Triple H heel. Like, when I say Triple H heel, do you guys understand, like, what that implies?
A heel that can do whatever he wants?
Not even that. A heel in the sense that it's a bad guy. It is a villain.
What you're saying is you need some sort of authority figure.
Not even that. Not
coming
even that,
back.
man. I'm saying, like, cerebral assassin Triple H. Because, like, you look at the landscape right now. What do we have for heels?
What you want is Samoa Joe. Like, if there is somebody that is going to fit that mark, if it is not Seth Rollins, it is Samoa Joe.
Yeah, it is Samoa Joe in a way. I think that Samoa Joe can excel that level, but I think that's like the big problem. Like, it's not even of, who is the heel, but what is a heel? Like, is a heel your Elias Sampson, where, like Ryan mentioned earlier, he's somebody that the casual fan can understand. I gotta boo him. Same thing with Jinder Mahal. And I think that we've just lost track of, like, a built-up heel with the story. Like, cerebral assassin Triple H had the story, right? Like, when Evolution happened, the story was like, look at, this is the guy that had DX, and now he's building up the future. There was this long-standing purpose, and to this day, we got Randy Orton. We got Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy thanks to Triple H, right? There's nothing like that right now. Nothing like that at all.
Direct one-to-one. We got
Of course.
Drax the Destroyer because of Triple H.
Yes. There is a serious lack of heels on Raw. I mean, especially when you have Joe and Brock, who are both kind of heels. I mean, we don't even really know what the true status of either of these guys are at this point. But they're both tied up in a feud, so it really does kind of leave Balor's and Reigns with what the heck are they going to do? I don't know what Roman is going to do for Great Balls of Fire, and he's trying to talk about SummerSlam. We don't even know what the heck they're going to do with him in the meantime. Strowman was obviously that guy, and hopefully he's back sooner than later. Strowman was a great heel that they were building up into the main event. Unfortunately, he's hurt right now, so they're down a person, so it makes it even more difficult. I have no freaking clue what, who they can have to work with Balor and Reigns right now. Maybe they tag up in some sort of tag team feud against Sheamus and Cesaro at this point, because I have no idea.
Yeah, I think more than anything, what we're feeling right now is the void that Braun Strowman left when he got injured. Because he's supposed to be that guy, and if he was around to feud with Lesnar, that would free up Samoa Joe, who would fit perfectly into a feud with somebody like Reigns or Finn Balor. So it all trickles down from that, and it kind of sucks. Please come back soon.
One thing I would say though is that you should have Balor and the Miz feud, because maybe you just do a TV rematch for Ambrose and the Miz for the IC title, and then you immediately move to Miz and Balor, because you can already have Ambrose feuding with Elias Sampson, so that way you can open the Miz up to feud with somebody, because he's definitely a guy you can bring up higher. He deserves to be higher on the card, so have him feud with Balor, because Roman Reigns would just Shrek him and it wouldn't be interesting.
Agreed there. And I would like to point out that even 2 weeks later, I still 100% support Bears. So thank you for the question. Our next one comes in from Snipin' Sexton, who asks, hello all. Hello. Is it just me, or could the WWE make, quote, hella bank with licensed bathrobes?
I love the quote hella banks.
Hella banks.
He didn't want to be responsible for that.
Yeah. Not hella banks. That's something completely different, but hella bank. But Snipin' Sexton continues, I would wear a glorious Bobby Roode bathrobe all the time. You and me both, brother. There's plenty of current and former superstars that wore robes that could easily be replicated. People like Ric Flair. He actually has Ric Flair there twice, and I still agree.
Macho Man Randy Savage,
that
Goldust,
good?
Damian Sandow. What do you guys think?
It's a
So,
gold
I don't know
mine.
if I dreamed this or not, but didn't they sell a Sandow robe briefly?
I think they did.
Maybe. I might be remembering it.
Yes. I mean,
might
let's be
remembering it
real.
wrong.
We made a video about them selling an always pounding ass t-shirt. There is nothing that is off
or
the
a hat with
table.
a beard on the brim of it.
Yeah, or Sin Cara with a penis.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he does have one, but um,
You don't even have to
think it's
limit
a
that
cool
to.
idea. I just don't like the Ric Flair ones. If you want a real Ric Flair robe, though, that thing's gonna be expensive. Like if you want to go all out with it, that's the thing. The Sandow one totally could have worked. It's just now Sandow is just not a thing anymore. But because that looks like a more affordable thing that people could buy. I don't know. I think it's cooler when people they make their own. Because I mean, a lot of these are just so over the top that it would be a little too expensive. Just like a Chris Jericho light up jacket. I mean, I think if you're that dedicated, it's cool if you make your own because yeah, it's just not something that I think would be a hot seller because it's one thing to wear a t-shirt, but how much utility are you going to get out of a Ric Flair robe?
Oh, you don't know, man. You don't know what happens on Friday nights.
Unless they kind of like just put the like a pattern or something on a bathrobe and then it's more like a traditional bathrobe.
What I will say is, like, talk about bathrobes. Why don't we have pajamas that are basically the outfits of WWE superstars? Like, we have all these towels and all that stuff. Imagine like pajamas that are based on Goldust outfit or Enzo Amore. Like, that would be a gold mine, and that's not too complicated. Just have the pattern, like pajama stuff.
Don't
man.
they have Halloween costumes like that where you
yes,
can
but have that all year. Have your Roman Reigns pajamas. Become the Empire. Oh my, that's your tagline. WWE pajamas.
All right, so
the
thank you for the
Empire.
question. Our
well, what
next
if-
one.
I was gonna
no,
say,
we're done.
Okay,
We're
what
done.
if they had the Rock pajamas or whatever? It's like a full thing, but it's like it's got like a muscular body with like trunks on it. Wouldn't that just look weird?
What about
They
Gotenks?
have that. They have that with I'm ignoring that, but they have that with the Halloween costumes where it's just like they had a CM Punk one where it's just tattoos and tights and it was
Awkward.
real sad. But thank you for the question. Our next one comes in from Jake Pauler for life, who asks, do you all believe that SmackDown will eventually receive a third hour? And what do you think that will do for the WWE?
What triggers?
Oh,
No, please, please, no.
no.
Don't
I think
do
one
it.
of the
Good
biggest
God, don't
highlights
do
of
it.
SmackDown is that it ends an hour early.
Yep.
So I don't think they will because they're kind of stuck in this scenario with Raw. But I think everyone at WWE, I think everyone realizes what a mistake the third hour was. Sure, it's more money. I don't think anyone likes doing that extra hour. I don't think they're going to plan on adding that to SmackDown at all. They're stuck with it with Raw. Let's not make the same mistake twice.
Agreed. And plus, if you think about it from a live show aspect, right now, Raw and SmackDown are completely comparable because you have the 3-hour Raw, but then you have 2 hours of SmackDown and then 205 live. So you're getting the same. You're getting the same
event.
So you're getting the same experience when you go to a live show, whether it be Raw or SmackDown. If you add another hour to SmackDown, you're disrupting that balance again. So then you'd have to like start having the questions: do we add another show or a fourth hour to Raw?
Don't disrupt the balance,
only...
Ryan.
Exactly. Juan, anything to add?
You guys have pretty much said everything. But generally speaking, I think that if you make it a 3-hour show, I'm done. Like, I just cannot consume that.
Yeah,
I think
He's out. Table flip. He's out.
Now, here's the sad part. If SmackDown was on Thursdays, I think the WWE would risk doing that because you have 2 days in between, so they can theoretically just go, well, they got 2 days worth of break, but back to back like 6 hours, which we already technically get 4 hours. Like SmackDown with Talking Smack and 205 Live is about 3.5 hours.
Never mind a pay-per-view week with all that.
Oh my God, no,
Oh,
hell
in
no.
a Big Four pay-per-view where you have the NXT the night before.
Stop it, Ryan.
It's too much. It's too
You're gonna
much.
make me cry now.
It's-
Please stop.
I don't. Oh my God, SmackDown can never move off of Tuesdays, or else I might flip the table and be out because that's. I like that it's just this condensed package, and hey, at least as bad as it is, some weeks I can still have the rest of my week. Like there's something that I can have that's me, and not just being dragged down by this ball and chain that is
Yeah, I mean, we
sometimes known as
dedicate
professional
3 days
wrestling.
of our lives to WWE. I do. It actually helps that it's condensed.
Condense it. Condense
Indeed.
it.
So thank you for the question. Our next one comes in from Irish T, who asks, "What's up, Byte That? Do you guys have any tattoos? If so, why not? And what are some of your favorite tattoos on wrestlers? Some of mine are Jeff Hardy's sleeve, Bray Wyatt's, Randy. Let me try that again. Randy Orton's sleeves, and The Godfather's."
Godfather was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't have tattoos. I've thought about getting tattoos, but I just am not willing to commit yet, to like what kind of tattoo. Like I've always wanted like some kind of like wrestling themed tattoo, but that it not be obviously about wrestling. The problem is like the commitment is real, Plus like I know the whole thing about like discrimination, like it shouldn't happen, but people look at you differently sometimes when you have tattoos. Like I have friends that have full sleeve tattoos, and unfortunately they get so many looks. And I ask them, like, how do you feel about that? And it's at first they don't really care about it, but deep down inside, at some point, it eats them alive, and it sucks, right? Like that should not be the thing. But am I opposed to getting tattoos? No. As far as which tattoo I like in WWE, I kind of like Bray Wyatt's combination. Like I hate his back tattoos. I think that Batista hated his tattoos, like the belly, like the sun thing. He finally got rid of that. But really, like the real answer is Undertaker. Like growing up, I just thought it was super cool to see like this whole like dead man character and then like sleeved up arms. That just looked awesome.
I do not have any tattoos, no plans to get any. It just really comes down to the fact that there's nothing in my life that has truly motivated me to feel that it was worthy of getting a tattoo.
Keith's
And
face.
my interests change. And what I think is cool at, 21, 25, 27, I'm probably not going to think that's cool when I'm 40, 50 years old. So I'm not really going to make that commitment. As far as what tattoos I think are cool, I mean, CM Punk's, he has so many that are just like little kind of things. They're all tattoos I think it's cool. Oh, he's got the Pepsi logo. He's got like the, ace or whatever behind his ear. It's like, oh yeah, that's cool. I would never want any of that on me though. I'm not willing to commit to Pepsi. What if I start liking Coke more,
What about a
You
fidget
should check
spinner
yourself into
tattoo?
rehab.
No. Would you get a fidget spinner tattoo?
Oh yeah, seems like the coolest thing to do right now.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. So one like these guys, I have a tattoo that I love, and I am not ashamed of it. Now, what that is and where that is, I will leave that to your imagination.
You just
'Cause
said
that-
you're not ashamed of it. So if
I
you're not
know.
ashamed of it, why are you?
But because it's so much more fun to leave that vague. Like
the problem is the imaginations
Exactly.
are going to be getting
Exactly.
left
It's
or right
so much
cheek.
more fun. We live on the equator. But as far as some of my favorite tattoos, you know what I said.
No.
But Brock Lesnar has always been a big favorite of mine. His first run of tattoos, it got weird. I'm not a fan of the sword, but I really like the back tattoo. Even the hooks are all right. CM Punk is up there for me. Randy Orton, I think, has some of the best sleeves I've ever seen, and that's and his back tattoo is great.
And I'm trying to think of other people, like little ones. Like I love Shawn Michaels' tattoo. It's a little thing, but because like to me, Shawn Michaels' tattoo is one of the first images I think of when I think pro wrestling, and it resonates with me in that respect. So I like it from that angle. A couple Undertaker's just by quantity. I think it has to be up there. He has so many. That dude got a neck tattoo and then got that neck tattoo blacked out. Like that is amazing. That is
Sarah.
for Sarah or Undertaker. But yeah, tattoos are awesome. I can't recommend them enough. Though there's a stigma, the world is changing, and I don't think that'll be a much. Everybody that has that problem is going to die eventually, and I think we'll be better off.
But for now, if you want to have ease of getting a job, if you're going to get a tattoo, make sure if you wear a short sleeve shirt and shorts, you can't see the tattoo.
Not all tattoos have to be in places where, like on arms or legs or something like that.
Does your tattoo become larger?
What?
Nothing. Keep going.
Okay.
Next question.
So thank you for a question. Our final question of the show comes from the true Prince of Pro.
Here we go.
This is more of a statement. So, backstory here. Recently on our social media, twitter.com/ByteThatCast, a topic got brought up to us, and that is a ranking of French fries, different types of French fries that are in the world. It's on this list here. There are 18 different styles of fries, and the True Prince of Pro says, I feel like there needs to be a group discussion during the podcast about this list of this ranking of fries, and he also throws out there that smiley fries, which end up being at the bottom of this list, are definitely the worst, which is hard to argue in my
I
in my
would
sense.
argue that they are definitely not the worst.
Oh yeah,
So-
there have been far worse.
Ryan, you have this list, yes?
Yes.
You want to take us through some of the some of the different types of fries that are ranked on this list?
So this
Certainly.
is like from most to east. To least, most to east.
Yeah.
What
And
are
just
you
go-
on,
just go-
sir?
Yes, most to
okay.
east.
Okay. All right, let me take over while Juan collects himself after that. Okay, so this is the ranking that Food Republic, I believe they're the one who initially posted this image. This is their tier list. This is not our list because we are going to debate our list. This is a debate that on the podcast right now.
Doing
Okay.
a lot of those recently.
So they have at rank 1 being the best, waffle fries, followed by Belgian fries, then tater tots,
Lies.
standard cut,
Lies.
garlic fries,
Save your thoughts.
curly fries, shoestring/matchstick fries, crinkle cut, cheese fries, steak, chips, sweet potato fries, potato wedges, chili cheese fries, cottage fries, Holmes souffles, I don't know, potato tornado, and smiley. Now let me first comment that I'd like to say
Okay.
is that I don't appreciate the fact that they put in things like cheese fries and chili cheese fries, because that's, you still have to use one of these types of fries and then you just put stuff on it. I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, it's
not
like
only
if you add
that-
ketchup to it.
But not only that, like this list is completely null and void to me because they omitted the real true fry, and that is poutine, the Canadian delight.
But
of-
see, once again, isn't that just a type of fry and then you just add a bunch of shit on top of it? Like,
yes, but it makes it the best fry from that.
but
Like,
I'm saying
wait-
if we're taking purely the potato fry itself,
With nothing on it, just maybe
Yeah.
some salt.
exactly.
Well, then they're all dry
Seasoning-
garbage.
Seasoning can count, but let me put it this way. Smiley fries are not even close to the worst. In my opinion, steak fries and crinkle cut fries are garbage tier to me. They're just dry potato. Like, I know it's potato, but it's like too much dry potato-ness to them.
Yeah.
That in like at least potato wedges, I feel like just the outside of a potato wedge is just it's more interesting to eat. I don't know, it tastes better.
But the middle part is kind of just like normal. Like when you say French fry, I think we need to set like a standard, right? Like when we're scheduling for like the best one, it's got to be crunchy, right? Like to me, a French fry that is not crunchy
crispy,
should
yeah,
not
because
be.
standard cut fries, right? I look at standard cut fries similar to like McDonald's fries. That's what
Yeah.
standard cut fries are. Now, there's a lot of sub shops and stuff around my area that have crispy fries that I think are absolutely the best fry, where they're a little bit bigger than the standard cut like McDonald's, but they're smaller than a steak fry, and they've got that crispy outside to them. Those are absolutely delicious. These Belgian fries, I don't think they're that great. They're kind of similar. They remind me of like Five Guys, what you would get there for those types of fries. Oh, okay, but not like the crispy fries.
Yeah, like I would definitely say that like if we're going on quality, I would say a Belgian fry is probably better, but there's something appealing to just like the sodium overload that happens on like a standard fry that I think adds more flavor than like a Belgian fry. So I would personally put it a little higher. I like the if we're going by like a normal fry, I think that thinner is better. I don't like that big like if I want a mouthful of potato, I'll just go have a baked potato or something like that. But I like potato wedges, but that's mostly because of the seasoning that gets put on them.
Agreed. Like potato wedges at KFC are pretty awesome.
Do you
They
guys
are.
don't like
Yeah.
guys don't like waffle fries? Because like to me,
No, a waffle
No.
fries. I was gonna say waffle fries would be actually like top 3 on my list.
I
Just-
disagree. Like go eat a potato.
no.
Waffle
Here's
fries
okay.
are fantastic.
Yeah, let me
No.
let me sell this. Like for those that haven't eaten waffle fries, they're simply the greatest thing of all time because they combine the great elements of each fry. Because it's like picture tic tac toe if that became a potato, right? And that became a fry or something.
So would that be tic tac potato?
Sure,
Oh
why
my
not?
God.
But because there's all those little holes, like when you fry them, it gets extra crispy. You get more layers, right? Like you fry them
There's
for a
not
least
too
amount
much
of time.
potato at each because you're not one bite in waffle fries usually.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
Waffle fries are at least a 2-bite process if you're doing it right.
And if anything, like one thing that is criminal to me is that the real answer is a waffle fry, a sweet potato fry. Like those to me are the very best. Like a lot of places have sweet
I
potato waffle fries, and those are freaking awesome. That's my number one.
Disagree.
All right,
Sweet
let's do a
potato
top
fries are
5 each
kinda-
because we're not going to do all 18.
All right.
So top 5. Keith, you want to start?
Sure, I'll go first, and I'm basing it mostly off this list. So number 5 for me would probably be the shoestring fry, just because I like that thinness. Number 4, probably a sweet potato fry, because while I'm not a fan, I do think that there's a place for them. Number 3, curly fries, because kind of fun. Like you can eat it almost. You can have some fun with it in your mouth. I'll leave that there. Number 2 is tater tots. I'm a big fan of the tot. I think they go amazing with hot sauce. Like especially if you want a match made in heaven, get some like Taco Bell Diablo sauce and put some of those on some tater tots. It'll make your damn day. I guarantee it. It's such a good combo. And number 1, even though it's not mentioned on this list, like I said at the beginning of my point, nothing beats a good old fashioned, I'm probably going to have a heart attack at the end of this. I need a fork or else I'm a mess. Canadian, beautiful, gravy filled, cheese curd. Take a bite and it feels like rubber. Poutine. There is nothing better on this planet than a poutine when it comes to fries.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. For me, coming in at number 5 has to be just sweet potato fries. I like them. I like the taste of them. They're pretty damn good. Can't complain when I have some sweet potato fries. Coming in at number 4 is standard cut. You know, your classic McDonald's type fries. Then I would probably put curly fries in at number 3. Number 2 would be waffle fries. And then number 1 would be, as I mentioned before, those crispy fries.
Okay, for me, number 5 would be curly fries because they're fun. Like I love it that you can just have like that middle part. Also, they remind me of like onion rings, which are awesome. So that's number 5. Number 4, I'm gonna have to go with garlic fries. The thing is, like, nah, I'm gonna take that out on a technicality because like there's the whole like ketchup, not ketchup thing, right? So like number 4, I'm gonna go with standard cut. Like I'm not a huge fan of standard cut, but when they're just fresh, you never go wrong
You get
with
the
them,
right
right?
batch, they're great.
Yeah, you can never go wrong with them. Number 3, I'm gonna go with sweet potato fries. I freaking love them. I'm not a fan when they do like shoestring, like Applebee's has like these shoestring sweet potato fries. They're not bad, but the problem is like to me they're way too salty because they're smaller. So like you feel like the salt is more real.
Yeah, you don't
Number
have the
2,
potato in between to kind of,
yeah,
counteract it.
exactly, because you only get the crispiness. You don't get like the tenderness in the middle, like unless you like overcook a fry. Number 2, I'm gonna go with waffle fries, just because they're the perfect combination of everything. And then number 1, as I mentioned earlier, sweet potato waffle fries. Those are incredible, and they go well with anything. Like you can use that with like ranch, with just ketchup by themselves. They're great. Like if you want to take it one step further,
store sometimes cook them
yeah,
up.
they're so great. Like just put them inside a burger. Put them in the burger. Like take it one step further, man.
It's madness.
Treat
You're a
yourself.
barbarian.
Yes, Keith, you're wrong, buddy. But I love you. I love you.
That's fair.
And now, folks, before we conclude this episode, as we do have the Byte That weekly update, and there's a lot happening here. As we mentioned, this is episode 199, and we've cemented the changes that are going to be happening on Byte That. Some of them have already been reflected on our Patreon campaign, and next week we will be talking about those. But for the ones that we can, I'll leave you with Mr. McNulty.
All right, so for the BT Weekly update, of course, first we want to remind you, you can get a trial with Audible audiobooks if you head over to audibletrial.com/bytethat. You get 1 free audiobook and a free 30-day trial. It also helps support Byte That, so you can head over there and check that out if you want to listen to something different on the road. Tons of wrestling books on there, like one said he listened to AJ Lee's book. You got Hardcore Holly's book, Daniel Bryan's book. Tons of options. We're on the road to episode 200. Episode 200 is next week. Just a week away. It's going to be a jam-packed episode with announcements, just celebrating what it is we do. We're going to have some games going on. A lot of special things are going to happen.
Only small
for
changes,
episode
right?
200. So you definitely want to listen next week. Don't forget to listen next week. It's going to be awesome. We promise you.
Don't forget it.
Yeah, don't forget. And you know what we're announcing next week on episode 200? The winner of our giveaway. So if you still want to enter, you have a week left to enter. All you have to do is drop a review on either iTunes or Stitcher. Let us know you did, and you're in. You have a chance to win. One lucky winner is going to get a $25 Amazon gift card. So you still get a chance to enter. You got 1 week left. Just leave a review on either of those platforms. Let us know you did, and you are in. So lastly, of course, we want to mention our Patreon. Patreon.com/byte. That is the most direct way to support what it is we do. It helps us make it helps make Byte That a better place. And thanks to the contributions of our current patrons, we've been able to do a lot of amazing things. We have reconstructed it in a way recently. And we're going to have some more announcements on that next week. But one thing we do want to let you guys know is we just opened our Discord channel. So that's kind of just an ongoing chat room, good place to also play games. If we want to go the voice channel to play games, against each other, with each other, whatever. And just an ongoing chat. Hey, chat with us. We're talking about gaming, whatever. If you are a patron, you donate at any point in time, pledge, you are automatically get lifetime access to our Discord channel.
Yeah.
We're also doing some private shows for $5 patrons. Yeah, private shows, baby. Who knows what can go down? So that'll be.
Give us your tokens.
Yeah, give us tokens. It's going to be kind of a free-form thing, and those will be live private shows for patrons to enjoy. I made it sound so wrong.
As they say in the street, heats out, meats out.
No, it will not. It will not be like that. Okay, it's gonna be just a more free-form discussion. We'll talk wrestling, talk whatever. If you want to ask just personal questions, but not too personal, not too personal. This is going off the rails. So anyway, we changed up goals too. So you can just go over to patreon.com/byte that if you want to see the details. We're gonna have more on that next week. And also this Saturday is going to be our big live stream on YouTube Live. We're going to be playing SmackDown vs. Raw 2007, doing the GM mode. So that's 1 p.m. Eastern time over on YouTube Live. So it's our youtube.com/bytethatcast, the usual YouTube address. You can find us there. 1 p.m. we'll be streaming GM mode. It's going to be awesome. We're going to try and book the 2007 WWE roster to be a successful show. And we want you guys to help out in the chat, discuss what we can do for feuds and things like that. So I think it's going to be an awesome time and a great build up to episode 200. So tons going on. We're going to have even more happening next week. So thank you guys for listening. And we'll see you for the stream this Saturday in episode 200.